Zidoo, Homekit, Homebridge. Let's discuss. And bonus tutorial. If you want your Zidoo Media Player to go from looking like this to this, then make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll show you how you can make your Zidoo media interface look more cinematic just like this. I am very happy to bring this video to you guys. So this video is going to show you how to integrate Zidoo with HomeKit. And before we go any further, I want to send a huge shout out to one of my subscribers, Corey. If it wasn't for him, I would have never been able to make this video. Originally, I was trying to do the same setup with the Zidoo and Home Assistant. And I got it to work, but not really. So I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the video. But thank you, Corey, for helping me get this far. I wouldn't have been able to make this video without you. All right, before we get started, a couple of disclaimers. So you cannot natively integrate Zidoo with HomeKit natively. You can do it with Homebridge, which is what we're going to do. And if you never used Homebridge before, I have a 3-part tutorial on my channel on how to integrate Plex with Homebridge, and it shows you how to download Homebridge. But you can go to Homebridge and, Google Homebridge. You can go to the website and they'll walk you through it. Second disclaimer is that I'm using the Zidoo Z9X. Now, I don't have any other players to test this with, so I know for a fact it does work with the Zidoo Z9X. I'm assuming it will work also for Zidoo players because it is a Zidoo plugin, and you're just entering your IP address as well as your MAC address, but just want to let you know before we move forward. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to Homebridge and log in. And this is assuming that you're already using Homebridge with HomeKit, okay? So once you're logged in, we want to click on plugins. And just to let you know, I already had this whole thing set up and installed. I completely uninstalled it. This is like my 5th time making the video. I've had some issues. So if you appreciate this tutorial, please make sure you hit the like button, share it with your friends, and if you're not already subscribed, then please subscribe. Okay, so we're going to click on plugins, and then we're going to search for Zidoo. We're going to hit enter. And then the only one that's going to pop up, it's verified. We're going to click install. And then this other box is going to pop up, and it's going to tell us that this device must be added manually in the Home app. And we'll go to that in a bit. So, name, Zidoo Z9X, it already pops up. Model, Z9X. Manufacturer, we know, is Zidoo. Okay? And then we don't need to enter in the serial number, but we do want to select set the IP and MAC address manually. Use this option if the device cannot be found automatically. I would just suggest go ahead and checking this because it's going to always be looking for that IP address and MAC address. Now, another disclaimer is you want to make sure that your Zidoo IP address is a static IP address. It's very important that it's static. If you don't know what that means, is that you can go into your router and set any device on your network as static, which means that IP address will not change. Normally what happens if you don't have a static IP address for, let's say you have a Roku on your network, well, if you unplug the cable, unplug the power cord, or you have an outage and that Roku reboots, every time it reboots, it's going to get a new IP address. Your router is your network is going to assign that device or any device that's not static a new IP address every single time. We don't want that because if you don't make it static, you're going to have to change the IP address every time. Now, if you don't know how to do that, you can Google it, go on YouTube. There's plenty of videos that show you how to make your IP address static, but you can do that in your router. So you want to find the IP address and the LAN MAC address for your Zidoo. And if you don't know how to do that, I can show you how to do that now. Okay, so if you don't know how to find the IP address and the MAC address, it's really simple. We're going to go over to settings. And then we're going to go over to network. And then I'm on Ethernet, but if you're on Wi-Fi, the information would be here. So mine's on Ethernet. I'm going to go to Ethernet. And then this is where you're going to find your IP address. So you need to copy your IP address, and then you need to copy your MAC address. Okay, so I'm going to enter in my IP address and my MAC address, and I'll do that here in a couple seconds, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've got my IP address and my MAC address entered, but before we hit save, there's a couple other options that you'll see here. You can add remote media control buttons, next, previous, fast or forward, rewind. I'm not going to use any of those. I don't know why you would need to assign an automation to that. The only thing that I care about is play, pause, and stop, and really only play, pause, so that I can control my lights. So we're going to hit save, and then it's going to ask you or tell you that you can use this as a child bridge. We're not going to do that, so we're just going to hit save. Okay, there's a couple other things that we need to do. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to open this little wrench here, and we need to go to JSON config, and we need to copy and paste a script. Now I'll make sure that the script is in the description, and we'll go through that right now. So this is the script that we're going to copy. Again, this will be in the description. You want to make sure you copy from this open bracket to this closed bracket. And it needs to look exactly like this, and all you have to do is copy and paste. So I'm going to right click, copy, and then I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to highlight all this, and I'm going to do Control V, paste. Now the only other thing that you need to do is you need to change your IP address as well as the MAC address. So get that IP address and that MAC address that you entered before, and do the same thing where it says IP and MAC, and then you can hit save. Okay? And then one other thing that we need to do, we need to go to settings, we need to go to troubleshooting, and then we need to select new platform UUID. If you don't select this, you probably won't be able to see it when you add it to HomeKit. I had this issue before, and if you go to the plugin page, it'll tell you that if you can't see it, you need to select that. So just go ahead and select it, and then we're going to hit save. And that's pretty much it. That's so much easier than the Plex HomeKit plugin. Really only a couple of steps. I've done all the work for you. I'll make sure that that script is in the description. All you have to do is copy and paste. That's it. So now we can add the Zidoo player to our HomeKit. But before that, we want to make sure that we hit restart. So we're going to hit restart on our server, go back to status, and once everything looks good, then we can add it. So I'm going to use my iPad here, but you can use your iPhone or your MacBook, whatever it is that you're using. But what we want to do is we want to open up the Home app on our iPad, which I already have it open, and then we want to select the plus sign. Then we want to select Add Accessory. Now this is where before when it said that you need to add this manually. Now when you hit the Add Accessory, it's going to ask you to scan a QR code. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to hit More Options. And then we should see our Zidoo, and there it is, Zidoo Z9X A690. So we're going to select that, and it's going to tell us that it's an uncertified accessory, which we already know because if you're using Homebridge with anything, that means that it's an uncertified accessory in HomeKit. So it's fine, you can, just select it. But we're going to hit Add anyway, and then it's going to ask us for the setup code. Now the setup code is going to be the exact same setup code that's on our Homebridge, which is right here. So we're going to select that, and we're going to type that in. And for me, it's going to be 390.59245. Okay, we're going to hit continue, and then it's going to say connecting to TV, and then it's going to ask us what room do we want to put this in. For now, I'm going to put it in the Zidoo automation just because I have a bunch of other stuff in my man cave room, but normally I would put that in my man cave, which I'll move it later. So we're going to hit continue. You can create whatever room you want, put this whatever room you want. So we're going to hit continue, and then we can change the name. I'm going to leave it as Zidoo Z9X. We're going to hit continue, and also make sure that your Zidoo is on when you do this. You might not have any issues, but the first time I did this, it didn't work, and I had to go turn my Zidoo on, and then after that, you should be good. Okay? And then it's going to say name TV input sources. We're not going to change any of this. We're just going to hit continue, and then it's going to show you switch 2, switch 3. Now here's where it can get a little bit confusing, and I'm going to help you because I had a hard time with this. I actually had to reach out to the person who created this this plugin. But for whatever reason, when you add the Zidoo into HomeKit, it doesn't display the switches right. So those switches that switch 2 and switch 3, those are actually our play, pause, and stop buttons. And you won't know that. And the first time I did it, I thought it didn't work, and it actually had these switches already in there, and I just didn't know what they were. And when I was doing this the other day, like I said, I had to reach out to the guy who created this plugin, and he told me that switch is actually play, switch 2 is actually pause, and switch 3 is actually stop. But for whatever reason, the HomeKit doesn't recognize it like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit continue. And we're going to wait for that. And it's going to ask you, an automation comes up. I'm not going to select that. I'm going to hit continue, hit done, and then I'm going to go over to my room, Zidoo automation, and then you can see Zidoo Z9X. Now what's cool is when you're actually playing a movie or TV show, it will show up here what you're actually playing. So what I want to do is I want to long press on that. I'm going to hit accessory details, and then we can see our switches here. So I'm going to scroll down. Oops. Don't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to scroll down, and then we want to select show as separate tiles. And that way we can see all those switches individually. Okay? So now we can see all of our switches. So now what you need to do is, and you can leave it like this if you want, but to make it easier, we're going to long press on this one. We're going to hit accessory details, and then we're going to switch this to play, hit done, and then it changes, and then switch 2 is pause. So we're going to do the same thing, long press, settings, and then we're going to change this to pause, done, exit out, and then switch 3 is going to be stop. All right, so now we know what our switches are. So now we can start adding some automations. So let's say I want the lights to turn off when this play button is activated. So I'm going to hit, actually no, we're going to hit the plus sign here. We're going to add automation, and then we're going to go to an accessory is controlled, and then we're going to go to where our switches are. So I'm going to select the play, and I'm going to hit next, and then this automation is going to be when this switch turns on. So basically whenever anything is playing, we're going to hit next, and then I can select the devices that I want. And I'm going to go into my man cave because that's where my lights are. I'm going to select my theater lights, riser lights, and then I'm going to select my GOVEE light strips, and then I also want to select the kitchen lights. Okay, so I'm going to hit next. And now this is saying when Zidoo automation is playing, so when a movie is playing, I want all the lights except for in the theater, except for my riser lights and the GOVEE light strips. So I'm going to select this down to 1%. Okay. I'm going to turn the GOVEE lights off, and then I want the island lights to be at 50%. Okay. And then we're going to select this light, make it 50%. Oh, that's fine. I'll change it later. Okay. And then if you want, you can hit test automation, but we're going to hit done. And then I'm going to do another automation. So we're going to do automation when an accessory is controlled, and I'm going to go down to Zidoo and I'm going to hit pause, next. So whenever I hit pause on a movie and that turns on, that pause switch turns on, I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to select those same lights. And then riser lights, theater light, GOVEE man cave, and then island light. We're going to hit next. So when I hit pause, I want all the theater lights to come on. I want the riser lights to go to 40%, that's fine, 20%, and then I want the island lights to come on to 100%. And I'll change these to 60%. Come on, there we go. Okay, so when I hit pause and that switch is activated, I have my lights configured. And the reason why I have my island lights on is because maybe I hit pause, I want to go get something to drink, I need to go to the bathroom, and I want the lights to already be on. So again, you can hit test automation, we're going to hit done. Now I'm not going to use the stop function right now, I'm just concerned about the play and pause. But that's it. So now we can actually go into the theater and see if it works. Okay, so we're back in the theater and I've got two cameras set up so you can see pretty much all the lights that are on right now. There's one light you won't be able to see, which is my riser lights, but I have all my lights in the theater turned on at 100%. So you can see when the lights come off or turn off when I pick a movie to play. Now, one thing that's really cool about HomeKit is once you get your accessory inside of HomeKit, you're not limited to just controlling your lights with these switches, the play, pause, and stop. Doesn't matter if you have a wall switch, if you have smart lights, a smart bulb, smart strip, if you have a thermostat, you can basically create whatever automation that you want. So before, I created an automation that, when I play a movie, I want my certain lights to come off. But if you have a projector like me, then your room can get very, very warm, especially if you're using like an HDR setting. So what I can also do is I can also tell my thermostat to turn on, or if it's already on, I can set it to a certain temperature. And then when the movie starts playing, I can have that temperature to turn on to, 71 or 72. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go to my automations. We're going to find that play automation, and then I'm going to select my accessories and I'm going to find my thermostat here, done. And then right now it's cooling to 70. So I'm going to say cool to 68. Well, let's do 67, okay? So I'm going to hit done on that. And then I'm going to go over to my thermostat and I'm going to actually turn it off because I want you to see what it does whenever I set that automation. And I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to wait for that to turn off and then we're going to come back. Okay, so the AC is off now. I'm back in the Zidoo automation room on HomeKit. So now I'm going to play a movie and you should see all the lights turn off. So I'm going to select poster wall. I'm going to go to Aquaman and I'm not doing anything else. I don't have my Apple Watch on. I don't have my phone on me. I'm going to hit play and you should see the lights turn off.
Had not yet vanished. Together, they were the greatest empire the world had ever seen.
Okay, so as you see, the lights turn off. So I'm going to hit pause and the light should come back on. So pause. And then I have the lights that I want to turn back on. I have my rear lights and I have my strip lights come on. So I'm going to hit play again. And I'm going to hit stop. And I'm going to turn a light on here real quick. Okay, so you may have noticed that when the movie started playing, some of the lights went off and they came back on before it actually, like, you could see an image. And I don't think that that is a reflection on HomeKit or the Zidoo. I think what's happening is during that handshake, so when I start the movie, you know, the HomeKit, the server, Homebridge recognizes that the movie started playing, but then it doesn't actually start playing because of my projector. It's not HDMI 2.1, so I don't have eARC, and it's just HDMI 2.0. And my AC unit just came on now. So it's trying to cool down to, you know, the 68 that I told it to when a movie starts playing. But the lights still went off. So if you have a TV or projector that has HDMI 2.0, you may encounter that issue where the lights come back on for a split second, but then they're going to turn right off. Okay, so that's the movie. Now, what about if I want to play a TV show? So we'll go to Beware the Batman, and I'm just going to hit play. And same thing. Light comes on for a couple seconds, and then it's going to go off when the TV show starts playing. Okay, so all the lights are off, and I'm going to hit pause. My strip lights will come on, my riser lights came on, those two back lights came on. I'm going to hit play again, and the lights go off. Okay, so I'm going to hit stop. Now, what's really cool is, like I said before, when you're actually playing something, it will show you in your room where your Zidoo is what's actually playing. So I'm going to hit play again. And then on my HomeKit app, as you can see here, the Zidoo Z9X, I'm going to long press on that, and I'm going to go to accessory details, and then it's going to tell me Beware the Batman is playing, tells me how many minutes it is. It's SDR at 23.976 frames per second, DTS HD English. And if I back out of this again, now it says Beware the Batman. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to turn on my light so you can see me. And as you can see, it works perfectly fine. The only issue, and to me it's not even really an issue, I mean it is an issue, but it's not something that I can control, and I don't think it's an issue with HomeKit or Homebridge. I think it's just a handshake. So if I had like an complete HDMI 2.1 setup where you don't get that black screen when it's trying to handshake and it just plays, you probably won't have that issue. But there it is. It is working. I am so excited to have this feature working with Zidoo. That was the one thing that I would say was probably keeping the Zidoo from being my main player as opposed to my NVIDIA Shield and Plex, even though I haven't even been using my NVIDIA Shield since I've had the Zidoo. This is game changer, and you know, I can do all sorts of automations. So my lights that are in the kitchen, you can't see those. I don't have a camera out there, but I can do whatever I want. You can do all kinds of automations with your switches, with your lights, with your thermostat, whatever you want to do. So there you go, it works. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm super excited to share this with you. I was super excited when I finally got this working. And to be honest with you, I have an NVIDIA Shield with Plex that I've loved for years. Honestly, 100% transparency, since I've had my Zidoo, I haven't really used the NVIDIA Shield and Plex at all. I've used it a couple times for some testing and then couple other instances. But the reason why I didn't really want to stop using that Plex and NVIDIA Shield is because I had it working with my lights. And I really, really like that functionality. I wish that functionality was included on other apps on the NVIDIA Shield, but there are no plugins for that. But I was so excited when I found out that I could add automation to my Zidoo, because the Zidoo is just a supreme player in every way compared to NVIDIA Shield. I will still say that I think the Plex's user interface still beats Zidoo, but it's getting close. And every single time that I use the Zidoo player, I find different things, or I just realize that I am loving it more and more. And now I have a new skin on the Zidoo, which makes it even look better. So I gotta be honest, man, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I don't know if I'm gonna use my NVIDIA Shield with Plex anymore. Like, at least not in the theater. I might move it to another room, or I might use it for testing if I need to, but I really have no reason to use it now, because the Zidoo plays so many more different types of files, formats. It's just a better player. I've got Dolby Vision and I can configure it. It's just a much better experience. And now that I have it working with my lights, I just honestly don't see a reason to use the NVIDIA Shield. Like, it's still a great player for what it is, but it's limited, very limited compared to, you know, a media streaming device like the Zidoo or like Zapedi and some other devices. So my goal is to get one of the bigger Zidoo players in the future with an actual drive bay, and that way I can actually put a drive in there. But I'm super excited, man. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this integration. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably gonna do this yourself, but I'm really glad that I could bring this to you. Again, it's super easy. It's not hard. You just need somebody to show it to you, just like I needed someone to show it to me. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, again, please hit the like button, share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed, because a lot of you that watch the channel are not subscribed. I'd say probably 90% of you aren't subscribed. So if you find this video or other videos on my channel helpful, it really does help if you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, because that will also show other companies. I'll have more opportunities to get products in for review and to make more videos like this. So once again, thank you. And no matter where you're at on your home theater journey, make sure you enjoy it. Wait, before I sign off, as promised, I want to show you how you can get your Zidoo Z9X interface or the user interface to look more cinematic like I showed you before. And it's super, super easy. I'm going to provide you with the file. So I'll make sure that there's a link in the description. Go to that link, download the file. You can put it on a hard drive or a flash drive, or you can even put it on the network and do this over the network. But I just went ahead and put this on a flash drive and stuck it directly into the Zidoo just to make sure that there wasn't any issues with anything over the network. But once you have that file, you put it on a flash drive, you plug it into the Zidoo, and then we want to go to Media Center. And then you want to go over to the hard drive or flash drive that you have it on. Mine is here, so I'm going to click on that. And then I created a folder called Zidoo. Oops. So I'm going to go to that folder. And then I'm going to find that file. And we want that APK file. So this is the zip file that I actually got it from, but this is the actual file. And I'll make sure that it's already zipped. You won't have to do any unzipping or anything like that. So I'm going to click on that file, Zidoo_UI_1619dr APK. We're going to click on that. And so the name of this skin is called ZIUI Cancer. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to install this application? It does not require any special access. So we're going to hit install. App install. So I'm going to hit done. And then what we want to do is we want to go to our home screen, and it's going to ask me to select a home app. Now, but I did this one time before and I restarted it. I've never seen it actually ask me this first. So I'm going to do this here with you for the first time. So I'm going to click on ZIUI Cancer, and then I'm going to do always. Look how easy that was. Now your user interface looks more cinematic. This just looks way so much better. Now everything else is still the same, you know, when I go into the apps, but scrolling from here, this just looks so much better. I love that black and white. So like I said, everything else still looks the same. If I go to apps, then it's going to look, oh, actually it looks different. Before, when I did this, this whole thing looked completely different. It looked like the old way of doing it. And it may have been just the way that I installed it when I restarted it, but this is actually really cool. So if you want to switch back, all you have to do, and let me go back out here. So if you want to switch back, I'm going to go back into apps. All you have to do is go over to ZIUI Cool, which is the standard user interface that comes with the Z9X. Click that. And then it switches back. So if I want to go back to it, again, go to the app, ZIUI Cool, and then I have this user interface. So if I want to switch it, I can go to apps, and it may just revert back to, yeah. So yeah, it reverts back to the old one. But if I click back on home, oh no, there it is. So if I want to switch back to the cancer one, I'll click that one, go back to home, and then you have your scan. So there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like button if you found this video helpful. I had a lot of fun making this, and I'm glad that I'm able to help you guys not only get your HomeKit and Homebridge and Zidoo working to controlling your lights and your smart accessories and changing your skin to look more cinematic. For Haterette Cowboy Cinema, I'm Haterette Cowboy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.